Hello and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. Looks like Twitter's finances are still hanging by a thread. Elon Musk's been desperately trying to monetize each aspect of the platform to make his investment profitable, but advertisers are not buying it. The billionaire tweeted that Twitter is still spending more than it's making due to its debts and nearly 50% drop in ad revenue. In April, Musk claimed the platform was finally breaking even despite many advertisers fleeing the site following his takeover. Still, I'd take those claims with a grain of salt, as other investigations suggest the platform lost almost 60% of its ad revenue so far this year. And according to independent research firm Sensor Tower, ad spending on Twitter fell by 89% to $7.6 million in the mere span of 2 months this year. Now, Twitter may not be making the big bucks, but it's sure open to sharing what little it's made. In an unexpected turn of events, the company has started paying content creators on the site, likely in an effort to keep them on the platform.
I did not do anything special. And Elon Musk straight hits me up and he's like, bro, how would you like $6,000? Holy wow. Check this out. Not literally Elon, but right after I finished recording the other segment, I go to Twitter and this pop-up appears and I'm like, what is it? It says, congratulations, Timcast. As your share of our ad revenue in replies, you're receiving $5,823. Your portion will be deposited into your Stripe connected account within the next 72 hours. Thank you for being a creator on Twitter.
Like Tim, many other creators also posted how much they made on the platform. And meme accounts seem to be in the lead with their paychecks. But as with everything Twitter, not a lot of users are happy about this scheme, mainly because it is exclusive to Twitter Blue subscribers. And that's not all. To make money off your tweets, you first need to pass a human verification check and reside in a country where Stripe is available for payments. The cherry on top, your account must have had at least 5 million impressions on tweets in the past 3 months. Quite the bar. And this is also a good time to remind you that as the world's richest man prepares to pay millions to Twitter creators, his company was recently sued for not paying $500 million in severance checks to its former employees. To Iran, where the morality police have resumed controversial patrols to enforce strict hijab laws, 10 months after the death of a woman in custody sparked nationwide protests. The morality unit had largely pulled back after the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini, who was detained for allegedly breaking the country's religious dress code. It enraged millions of Iranians, leading to months of anti-government protests and a deadly crackdown that saw 500 people killed and the arrest of 20,000. The unrest also ignited a massive social media movement calling for change. In the months after the nationwide demonstrations, the morality police were rarely seen patrolling the streets, and some women stopped wearing hijabs altogether. Many women continue to flout the official dress code, especially in the capital Tehran and other big cities.
Do you think the morality police can prevent women from not wearing a hijab? They can't impose restrictions like before. The number of people who don't obey the law is too high right now. They can't handle all of us. They would have to resort to violence and use force against us.
Iranian police say if morality officers find people improperly dressed, they will first be issued a warning, and if they still don't comply, police will take further action.
Police
patrols will continue throughout the country. In addition to their other duties, these police officers will deal with those who unfortunately ignore the consequences of not wearing a proper hijab and insist on disobeying the rules. And in addition to giving warnings, if people disobey the orders of the police force, legal action will be taken and they will be referred to the judicial system.
All right, anyone who's ever been to a concert knows that after a couple of drinks or a bad performance, fans can get a bit rowdy, maybe throwing anything and everything they can get their hands on at the stage and at each other. But recently, this trend has gotten seriously out of hand to the point where singers and fans alike are running out of ways to say, "Stop doing it." Harry Styles became the latest target after being struck in the eye by an object thrown at him during his Vienna concert. He joins the list of artists who've recently been hit by objects while performing on stage. Lara wraps it up for all of us.
The pandemic appears to have given birth to a new breed of concert-goers. Fans who seem to have missed the memo on proper behavior. Increasingly, musicians are becoming unwitting targets, facing a barrage of objects thrown at them. Bibi Rexha fell victim to a flying phone. This device hit her in the face, resulting in stitches. Pink was horrified when, wait for it, a fan threw their mom's ashes onto the stage. A supposed Ava Max fan managed to bypass security and slap the pop star on stage. And now, Harry Styles.
I don't understand the logic of throwing your up here, not only for safety reasons, but bro, I don't want your I don't want it.
The mounting number of incidents has sparked an outcry among artists concerned for their safety.
Somewhere else to take care of that. That's not happening here tonight.
Have you noticed how people are like forgetting show etiquette at the moment?
Concert etiquette, or rather the lack of it, has become a hot topic on social media.
I'm seeing people say concert etiquette is gone.
A billion concert etiquette videos come across my For You page. I think it's so funny because there's this big argument going on.
Some concert goers are now taking the matters into their own hands and dealing with disruptive fans themselves. From fans screaming at the top of their lungs, drowning out the artists, to others obstructing views with raised hands, signs, or phones.
Put your sign down! Your sign!
As tensions rise between fans and artists, a generational clash emerges.
This argument is highlighting the boomerification of Gen Z more than anything, because the whole I can do whatever I want here because I paid money to be here. This was really expensive. I paid to be here just like you did. You think I'm not going to scream and be annoying next to you? I can be annoying if I want.
And it's so interesting, this intense level of entitlement, because I feel like we millennials didn't act like this at concerts. This is something that is so shocking to me, because it's you either go one of two ways, right? You say, I paid my money, so I'm allowed to behave however I want. Or you say, we are living in a society with mutually agreed upon set of social norms and mores, right? Sociologically, you understand that there's an appropriate way to behave when you're surrounded by people who also paid $500 or whatever.
Will this wave of disruptive behavior continue to plague live music? Or will fans learn to show more respect for the artists they have paid good money to see?
And here's one more instance of disruptive fan behavior. A selfie almost brought one of cycling's biggest events to a screeching halt over the weekend. A spectator taking a selfie inadvertently grazed American rider Sepp Kuss at the Tour de France, causing him and several other competitors to fall. At least 20 cyclists were impacted. While fans gathering by roads and villages is part of the Tour de France's tradition and charm, the crash in the race's 15th stage has prompted several cycling teams to urge fans to behave better. Teams participating in the tour put out pleas on social media reminding spectators to keep their distance. Top cyclists Tadej Pogačar and Jonas Vingegaard also had a message for fans.
We really love spectators and fans. They come from all the countries, and it's incredible to see how many are them on the roads through all the stage. And just try to be a bit careful. Look on the road where you stand, and look at the riders, not the helicopters and the phones.
How does it act nice on the side of the road? Don't get on the road, don't punch the riders. Be there, watch the race. You don't have to get on the road. Just have fun watching the race instead of doing some stupid things like that.
Talk about not properly thinking things through. A Swiss teenager is probably ruining her actions after becoming an internet sensation for all the wrong reasons. The 17-year-old was caught carving the letter N into one of the brick columns of the Colosseum. Yes, the almost 2,000-year-old architectural wonder in Rome, that one. She was filmed by a tour guide who reported her to her parents. Turns out her parents were rather dismissive, saying she was just a little girl. Where the so-called little girl is being investigated by Italian authorities now and faces a hefty fine that could be as high as $17,000. And she's not the only weirdo to deface the iconic amphitheater. Back in June, a British tourist was caught using a key to carve in Ivan plus Haley 23. The incident sparked outrage, with Italy's tourism minister calling it a sign of great incivility. 27-year-old Ivan Dimitrov faces a fine and jail time of between 2 to 5 years. He's apologized and says he was not aware of the age of the building. Really now? Well, the California man who captured the appalling act on video has some choice words for the offending tourists.
Honestly, I would like this person to just kind of learn the lesson. Honestly, at the end of the day, whether he has to pay the fine or not, if learning the lesson means paying the fine, then so be it. But I just honestly want him and anybody else who would think of doing such a thing to realize that this is not acceptable behavior. When you visit a foreign country, you're being hosted by these people. They've taken you in, they've given you food and shelter, and you can't repay them with blatant disrespect like this.
All right, on to what's trending. Well, let's face it, who isn't searching for that cushy job that brings in solid bucks and demands the least effort? According to some TikTokers, those jobs actually do exist. Gen Zs are now opting for dull jobs, especially if it gives them the time and the dough to pursue their out-of-work interests. In the pursuit of reducing stress, they're quite happy to meet expectations, not exceed them.
There's a lot of jobs out there where you could make like 60 to 80K, so like pretty comfortable salaries, and not do that much work and be remote. Most of them are non-technical tech roles, so I'll give you a few examples of like practical stuff here. Marketing associate, some type of account manager, as a customer success manager. That's a very good lazy girl job. So these are jobs where they're equitable, you have some type of equity, they're paying pretty well, they're paying your cost of living, right? So it's safe in that way. You're not risking your life per se, it's just safe, right? Like there's no like staying out late at night. It takes the pressure off of childcare as a whole because you have kind of this easy job that's extremely flexible and there's no like start or end time every day. Like I worked for a job that like they never told me to work at like 9 a.m.
Gabrielle describes herself as the anti-work girl boss. Her lazy girl job video posted in May was viewed more than 3.5 million times. If working less is your vibe, her page is a fountain of knowledge for you. And there are also tips on how to spot a demanding job.
How is risk-taking handled? It's corporate for when I how do y'all react? They start describing this like cutthroat competitive environment. Get out. Jobs performance measure. This in corporate language means how do you micromanage me? And the third one, this one's for culture. Describe a high-performing employee on your team. So that's corporate for how hard is this job? I also have some bonuses here for you. Reading a room is something very important to me and something that I always try to drill into your head when talking about lazy girl job. Like body language. So like here's a few things that you could figure out. Are they late? Are they tired? Are they unprepared? Are they late because they're too busy working hard and playing hard? Ew. If they're tired, why are they tired? Are they working in an environment where they can't take time off? If they're unprepared and they're interviewing you for a job, why? Like, did someone recently get laid off and they picked up the slack? Are they wearing too many hats?
And that's our show. Find our latest shows on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.